Hello, hello, it's the one and only 5D Transformations. And in this video, I wanted to touch on um, essentially extroverted thinking versus extroverted feeling and how they differ. So, the two types that I'm going to hone in on is going to be the INTJ versus the INFJ. I'm going to compare the types, but I'm going to hone in a bit on extroverted feeling and extroverted thinking primarily. So, with both of these types, they really share a lot of similarities, even though they come off very different in their expression from a social perspective. And that's the biggest thing you'll notice with extroverted feeling and extroverted thinking. Now, INFJs and INTJs, they live in a world where they are focused on moving toward an ideal, toward a vision or something that they see as a greater goal. Um, with the INFJ, one thing that they generally will have, though, because they have their extroverted feeling connected with the introverted intuition, they can give off more of a kind of a spiritual energy to them. They can come off as very um, warm, very likable. One thing you got to realize, they have extroverted feeling, number one, so that makes them much more social, much more expressive, emotionally communicative. They have an amazing ability to make people feel very comfortable, and they are actually more willing to socialize than the INTJ. Between the two types, the INFJ is honestly is a lot more social than an INTJ, and it all boils down to that extroverted feeling that the INFJ has versus the extroverted thinking that the INTJ has. See, what triggers the INTJ's sociability is going to be extroverted thinking, which is going to be rational conversations regarding how to get from point A to point B or any kind of means of information they can get. One of the biggest differences between INFJs and INTJs is that INFJs enjoy being around people. They love information, but they more so enjoy a certain emotional environment. They're looking to feel comfortable, they're looking to feel understood, appreciated, and they generally try to give that respect to other people as well. They want everybody in the environment to feel comfortable, and that allows them to feel more comfortable. So they're naturally more focused on the mood of everyone and looking to have positive interactions from an emotional level, which means it's not necessarily about the logic or the rationale of what the person is saying. Of course, INFJs can disagree with people. They have introverted thinking, so they have that kind of stubborn element where when it comes to how they think the way they think, but they are willing to hear somebody's perspective if they feel as though they value this person's perspective and if they feel comfortable with the person. But they ideally try to avoid debates and things like that because they want to maintain a socially harmonizing environment. The INTJ, on the other hand, they have extroverted thinking first, so they're not really worried about the emotional tone of the environment. They're more so focused on the logical connection between everyone in the environment. So an INTJ is going to feel comfortable when they're around people who can communicate about ideas, people who are smart, people who are sharing information, people who can talk and debate about different perspectives. One thing about INTJs is that INFJs are more socially, they generally are the more social type amongst the two as introverts, but INTJs are actually they're actually better listeners, generally speaking, than INFJs because for INTJs, the emotional tone of the environment doesn't interrupt the rationale as much, right? So they don't need the environment to be all happy and floaty in order to receive information. They are more so going to filter out the emotional tone of the environment in order to get to the core information and logic. They value an intelligent intelligence. They value someone that is logically sound, someone that can show them new perspectives, and that opens them up to want to talk and communicate because now we're talking about logical things in the external environment that we could share perspectives on. And what the INTJ values most from that is that's how they become more intelligent. You got to realize their number one social function is extroverted thinking. So they're constantly absorbing different information from the external environment. It's a very important way for INTJs to learn is by communicating, sharing ideas, and pulling in information from intelligent people, different people. So INTJs are the type that they might not talk a lot, but when they talk, you're getting to the point and you're accomplishing something. One thing about extroverted thinking is very outcome dependent. It's always wondering, like, what am I doing this for? What are we trying to do in the external environment? What's the effect? Are we trying to make money? Are we trying to build this? Are we trying to help the kids? And what's the return going to be from that? Like, this is extroverted thinking language. And to an extroverted feeler, this can feel draining, because anybody with extroverted feeling in their first, let's say INFJs, for example, if you have extroverted feeling as a second function, then that means you have extroverted thinking as a seventh to basically your second to last function is extroverted thinking. So to compensate for the lack of, natural, desire to communicate and solve things collectively with people from a logical perspective, they would much rather have a good environment with the people and say, all right, now you do this, you do that, and we all do our own thing. But when we come together, it's harmonious. For INTJs, they don't mind communicating and problem solving with people. They're introverts, so they also will enjoy doing work alone. But the difference is they actually like to communicate and solve things together, absent of an emotionally warm environment, because the same thing goes the other way. If you're an INTJ, you have extroverted thinking second. So you like to communicate with people to get things done. You value efficiency. You value, how do we get the best return for our time? Or what are we doing and what are we trying to get from this situation? And if they find somebody else that's on the same thing, like, yeah, we're trying to solve this. How do we get XYZ? The INTJ is going to be like, nice. Because now I'm communicating with the purpose. That's how it feels to INTJs. They have extroverted feeling second to last. So for them, communicating with a bunch of people and trying to have this warm, fuzzy environment, at times it can feel forced. At times it can feel fake. And at times it can feel like, what is the purpose of it? Because, the main goal is to solve things and be efficient and be effective. And, when everyone in the office environment, for example, is just trying to value harmony, but things aren't getting done, right? That's the problem. So you'll notice in management styles, and I'll do a video on this in the future, but an extroverted thinking manager is going to operate very different from an extroverted feeling manager. And their work environment and company culture is going to be completely different. Like for extroverted feeling dominant organizations, team harmony is very important. Carrying yourself in a way that's agreeable, matching the energy of your managers. It's those environments where they want to have a energy that is reflective of the CEO. They want that to go from the top to the bottom. Most extroverted feeling CEOs, when you see the people that work for them, they're going to have a very similar energy. Prime example, Grant Cardone. I don't know if any of y'all know Grant Cardone. Some of you do, some of you might not, but he's a business guy. And when you study, and he's always studying sales and marketing. And if you look at his company and the people in his company, like, if you watch any of the videos with him in the office with his staff, they're literally like versions of him. They all are like a different version of him, and it's because they want to keep that energy level, that emotional level the same, right? And they value that. Now, let's say extroverted thinkers, they're not worried about having the same energy as them, because most of the time their energy level is pretty monotone. You know what I mean? So with that being said, that's really big, because with extroverted thinkers, they're more so going to value the knowledge and information and how efficient and effective. Like if you want to win over an extroverted thinking CEO, you want to provide solutions to make things easier for them. Oh, I figured out how to do this. This is an idea figured out, or this is what we can do to do this and that. And they'll be like, okay, this person's helping me be more efficient. So they're going to value that. Whereas the extroverted feeler, it's going to be how you carry yourself at work. Are you likable? You know what I mean? Now, both parties need both. The extroverted thinker needs you to be likable in the office environment, obviously. And the extroverted feeler needs you to be a problem solver. But it's in terms of the priority and how important it is. So with that being said, I'm going to do a part 2 to this, because I think this is dope. I really want to delve into extroverted thinking and extroverted feeling. But for now, make sure to like and subscribe. You know what I mean? I got a lot of videos on the way. Make sure to tap into the Pyramidian course. We have the Pyramidian membership, and we officially have the MBTI course out now at 5weektransformations.com. Breaks down the whole game of MBTI and the magic of each personality type and your hidden gift. So go tap into that, and I'll see you all in the next video. Be blessed. Peace.